All right. So today I wanted to talk to you about the butterfly effect. And I think we could learn a lot from caterpillars and their transition or their ascension into becoming a butterfly. I think that there's a lot that we can probably learn when we lessen the distractions in our life and we pay more attention to the life around us, meaning the nature, and we kind of remember what we've been told in church, school, whatever, and draw those connections from our life experience. And then things start to make sense to us, okay? Um, it's kind of hard to connect those dots when other people tell us what is supposed to be true without us discovering it for ourselves from our heart, okay? So, what I wanted to talk to you about is the caterpillars and the butterfly effect. Now, the butterfly effect is supposed to basically, represent a minute change that can have huge effects on things in life, right? But I look at the butterfly effect as something where we can take into account in our own life and learn how we can apply that and kind of find our own purpose. So, one thing people don't know about caterpillars is that caterpillars actually only spend a couple of weeks on this earth as a caterpillar before it ascends. And what is it doing that entire time? Well, it's eating and preparing for its ascension. And specifically, monarch caterpillars, before it goes into its chrysalis, its a cocoon, it hangs in a J formation and starts praying. And if you ever pull up a video of a monarch caterpillar doing that, you'll be surprised. Like, wait a minute, what? It's praying the whole time and getting ready to ascend. And when that caterpillar goes into its chrysalis, becomes a cocoon, goes into a cocoon. The cocoon consumes it and all that stuff, and then in that, while it's in the cocoon, the alchemical process takes place, and then the Christ gene activates within the caterpillar, and it crystallizes or chrysalicizes, and it grows its wings and becomes a butterfly. Like, this has got to be the most beautiful divine transformation that we can actually witness in real time while we're here on this earth. And monarch caterpillars turn into butterflies, and what happens is they end up expanding their mind and their heart space to the point where they're able to fly and take the skies. If we think about this from a spiritual point of view or an imaginative point of view, when you activate your imagination like a child again, if you make your mind like a child again, then you will actually understand the divine spark of Christ that resides in all of us and every living being on this earth. Because this is actually a representation of exactly what Yeshua al Messiah, Jesus, the Christ man, was talking about when he walked this earth. He was telling people how to activate their heart space. He was telling people how to activate their heart space and rise to become the kings and queens of their communities. Because it is only in when living in the heart where you be able to ascend or expand. You don't have to wait until you pass on from this life to become an angel or bring heaven, all right, or enter heaven. You can bring heaven on earth if you want to. You can actually ascend and become an angelic being while you are here walking this earth. You'll just transform into a different person. And all of those people that thought they knew you, they only know the old you when you were a caterpillar. But they don't know that you are now the king or queen of hearts. They don't know the new you. So this is an excellent way to ascend and understand the ascension of caterpillars, and not only become the king of hearts, but also the king of diamonds or the king of spades. And this right here should light a fire in you and be like a candle of wisdom for you to realize, like, wait a minute. Yeah, because now you'll also realize, oh, king of clubs. If that's the king of hearts, king of diamonds, and king of clubs, then that makes this all, like they used to say, what did they call Jesus? The king of kings. The king of kings. And this is just basic understanding of paying attention to the life around you and realizing that there is a divine connection to all things in this world. And that's what Jesus was trying to teach us. And he didn't just teach people, you know, how to pray and how to look within themselves. Jesus didn't just provide for the people, he taught people how to fish. He taught people how to fish. Okay? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we get the idea of the Jesus fish. It's coming to that understanding is that we are all royalty in God's kingdom. We are all angels. All of us have the divine spark of the Creator within us, and we are all masters of our reality. And where does this knowledge come from? Well, this knowledge came from ancient Egypt or Kemet, even Atlantis, and the names and appearances of all the characters were just altered, changed, so that, you can, I guess, for these religions to create their own reality is the nice way to put it. I don't want to bash any of the religions, but it's just the truth. Is we're creating our own reality when we change the stories and change the narrative, and there's a connection between all of this. We are all descendants from the same Creator, same light, and it's just a matter of time when people realize that all of these stories all have one thing in common. They all have one thing in common, and they all can be brought back to the same source. When we look at the ancient way of telling it, if you just look at the Bible or the Quran or the Torah, it's only going to tell you from that angle. But all of this stuff has its own, I would say, connection, divine connection, and purpose. And all of us actually have the same root source, and we just don't remember. So, yeah, this is the Monarch Caterpillar, and can teach us a lot about our own divine ascension, how we can ascend while we're here on earth, walking this earth. And it's by practicing what we eat, what we put into our body, what we consume in our mind. We can become that monarch caterpillar and ascend into a butterfly and be able to take on the skies and bring heaven into our life and be those angelic type of beings that the world needs to bring love and light. And it starts with the heart. It starts with the heart. Because when you open up your heart space and activate your heart space, you're able to actually bring magic into your life and change your reality. And that is the honest truth of it all. Because when we are able to change our reality, so now we're talking about Metatron's cube now. Now we're talking about Metatron's cube. You see, we were told a version of history and told to kind of, just obey and recognize that this is the way things are. But when we lift this box off of our heads, we'll actually be able to see the truth. And what is that truth? Well, the truth is we've all been blinded by whatever country we come from. It doesn't matter what country you come from. All right. Whatever country you were born in, you were told to practice that religion. Okay. You were told to practice that religion, and you were told, you better obey, or you're going to face the consequences of whatever their version of God said it was going to be. And what is the truth? Well, the truth is all of the bad guys are in power right now, and nothing's happening to them, right? So we actually have to kind of, instead of looking externally for answers and hoping that someone from above will save us, we need to actually look within ourselves and realize that, oh, lift that blinding box off of us and realize, oh, we are we are the manifestors, the creators. We are in control of our own reality. Nothing in this earth can stop us. And now we are a fish out of water. I'm telling you, like, this basic understanding of just paying attention to our life and reality around us, it doesn't have to be so dark, because remember, we were given a book and told to read this book, memorize this book, and obey this book, or we will fall, or we'll fall into hell, or all that stuff, right? But the truth is that all of our names are written in the book of life, and we just have to remember who we are, know who we are, and know that all of that stuff was told to us to bind us and blind us and put us in a box. But the truth is, we are all kings and queens of our own reality, and nothing in this world can stop us, okay? The children of God bow to no one, we rise, and we are not afraid of anyone, okay? And we don't live in an upside down reality where we all live in fear of this mysterious God that's going to bring wrath upon us if we don't obey. You know, like, no, we don't do that here. We don't do that here. Like 50 Cent said, my heart is a home, homie. Fear don't live here. So we don't obey and bow to some vengeful being, because we know who we are, and we ascend, to become the big fish. The big fish. Okay? This is basic stuff that we used to teach children in the past, in the ancient times, in the temples, in the mystery schools, ancient Kemet. We didn't teach people from a book and tell them to obey the book. We actually let the children experience life and nature, and let their hearts actually become more emboldened to be creators, because we're all creators. We all have the power to manifest our own reality. And these are the type of things that we used to teach when Kemet was still around, and before it fell and was conquered over and over and over. And it became a place where the people that occupy that land now only put out broken structures and tell people, come, you want to come see a body, come see a corpse, want to come see a mummy. Like, no, no, that's not what our ancestors were all about. Our ancestors were a lot more enlightened and experienced, and they knew how to build. They were the true builders. They didn't drag stones through muddy sand to build those pyramids. They used technology. They used their mind. They used their heart and mind. And it was people that came from outside of this time space that came and corrupted the minds of those that were here. And they came on ships, and they told people to bow and obey their book. and they created these other religions out of all of this, and it was just craziness. But we're all descendants of some galactic beings that came from another star system, all of us, and they were tall, they were giants. When they sent the flood, they tried to drown everybody, but the giants still survived. Remember that some of the giants actually still survived, and they didn't get everybody. And they made it seem like those giants were bad, but those giants weren't all bad, because those giants were the original descendants, ancestors, and they preserved and kept that knowledge. And they survived on arcs that were able to survive the flood, and they kept the knowledge. So when they actually found dry land, they were able to start civilization all over again. And there was a second arc also. There was another arc that came, and that arc came from the Sirius star system. And those people came across as we know, the Dogon tribe, and taught them about the stars and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of history that was kind of scattered and split through, scattered like the stars in the sky at night. So you kind of have to connect the dots and piece everything together. And so there's not going to be one source of truth, per se. There's going to be a lot of truths that kind of tie back to the same thing. And just know this, the God that you think you're praying to, whether you're Muslim, Christian, Catholic, Jewish, you're praying to a galactic being, a cosmic being that came here when people were not that educated, didn't know any better. People with shiny technology and can do magical things told them to bow to them. And that agenda continued on for generations. Think about it. Our our grandparents could be tricked into believing anything. Okay, we're not our grandparents generation. You can't lie to us anymore. We're not going to fall for any of that stuff, because we all know that there's more going on. You could propaganda your way into controlling an entire population, but you can't do that anymore, because everyone is waking up now. A lot of people's divine gifts are coming online. Their psychic abilities are coming online. Children are being born with their memories from their past lives. So you just can't hold that veil over people's eyes anymore. It's not going to work. The truth is being revealed. We all know that we can actually control our own destiny, and we don't need to bow to anyone and submit to anyone. We are all free, and we are all of the divine light, the divine creator. And that's the truth. And that's the God's honest truth right there, as they would say. You know, we are all stars, we are all magicians, and we all can shred this reality that they've tried to put over our heads, and wake up and rise out of the water, because we're all drowning. We're all drowning in the water, but we can all ascend. You see how the butterfly effect can affect history when generations and waves of generations of people are born, and they're not told the truth, they're told an alternate reality. Then you can actually change history that way. And so what you do now alters the future. So you're not only changing history, you're changing the future. History and the future is changing, because the truth has been kept from people for so long. And it was able to work because, well, technology wasn't where it was today. Wow, now technology and information is so free that we can access so much stuff now. We don't have to listen to what uh, someone says, what some government entity says and tells us is true. We know that what they're saying is not true. We know what they're saying is false. And that is our benefit right now, that we can actually connect those dots ourselves. Our mind, our conscience can expand and become higher than they wanted it to be. They wanted our mind to stop here. They wanted our mind to stop here and obey this book. That's it. We walk and live by the Bible. We are God fearing people. Zombies. Zombies. But no, expand your consciousness and you realize that no, I am actually a magician. I am actually the creator of my own reality. And any shots thrown at me, whether it's from behind the shadows or directly or indirectly, remotely, it is not going to affect me or anything that is of mine, because I walk in love and light. And that's the truth. And that is just the truth. You can't hurt God's children when they're walking in love and light. All right? So that is our message for the butterfly effect and how we can actually rise to our power, ascend to the truth. Butterflies, caterpillars, monarch caterpillars, and butterflies lead us to all of this truth. We learned about the King of Kings. We learned about Bible. We learned about ancient Egypt. We actually were able to bring the Jesus fish into picture, into focus. And we see that when we follow this stuff, we just living sad lives. Like, why isn't life treating us the way we've been told? We're obeying the Bible. Why isn't God helping me? Walking this earth sad, zombies. It's because we have to lift this up off of our head and connect those dots and realize, like, oh, when you look at things from a higher perspective, like a bird's eye view, now you're like, now you're looking at things from a higher perspective and you're connecting those dots. Your mind has expanded and you're able to put that stuff they told us in the back, and now you're seeing things differently. Oh, now we see the top of the Sphinx again. We're seeing things from a higher perspective, bird's eye view now. I get it. That's all it is. They want us to believe like, oh, they're going to bring dark times on us if we don't obey. And we're just, like fish. You ever see a fish in a fish tank when their life is over? They're just floating upside down in the water. Yeah, that's this Freemasonry, this Catholic church, this Christian church trying to act like they're priests and pastors and bishops and they're leaders and they're the direct connection to God when they're not. They're not. You see who they worship. That's the truth. And they're turning us all into unalive fish. The truth is we are all masters of our own reality. Okay? We are all monarch caterpillars, divine beings with DNA, genetic DNA that come from the cosmos. We all come from the cosmos. And honestly, let's look at it. Let's talk about it. What do we see from the left and the right here? We see one side is just eating the fish as they continue to come. One side is just a fish eater, and the other side is not. We have to choose which side we want to be. Do we want to eat the life, or do we want to actually protect the life? It's a tough balance, but only some of us come to this realization and realize who we are, and we rise and become champions. We rise and become champions in this fight, and we beat the masters of darkness and trying to push this reality on us, and we end up rising to the power that we are supposed to have. Yeah. It's so much that I could talk about, but it's not not enough time for me to go over everything. I can keep going on and on forever, because if we were to continue to look at things this way, we would just be fed BS and keep our heads down, and we would never ever ever know who we are. Instead, especially the black community walking around, with the bandanas and the gang colors all the time, and putting each other down, and not realizing that we can be more if we stop actually falling for the gimmicks and the name brand stuff, and the wanting to wear houses names that would follow us around their stores if we went in there to shop anyway. So why would you want to wear their name on your body? Why do you want to be a walking billboard? It's just your free advertisement. It's all stuff getting fed into our head to keep us in a low vibration, keep our heads down, and it's just people who are in control of the reality that are doing this to us and making us think that we have to bow to a higher power. No, not at all. Not a lot, not at all, king and queens. We are the higher power. We are the higher power. Be that butterfly and break out of that cocoon. Be that butterfly and rip out of that cocoon. Yeah. Be that butterfly and rip out of that cocoon. Be free. Be free. All right. So remember, we can learn a lot from these from nature, just paying attention to nature. And all I did was connect a couple of dots for you to show you that we're all kings and queens. All kings and queens. So while we're here on this earth, let's try to play our cards right. We're not all dealt the best hand on the surface, but we all have a hidden hand. We all have a hidden hand. We all have an ace inside of us. That ace inside of us is that Christ light. Merry Christmas, and to all a good life. I love you all.